What a world, you now listening to Talker Brothas podcast.
Welcome to the Talker Brothas podcast.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
Talker Brothers podcast.
Talker Brothers.
Talker Brothers.
Talker Brothers podcast with Smash and Geaux Dee.
Geaux Dee and Smash, you guys doing your thing.
The mic is contacted, I attract clientele.
My brothers.
Geaux Dee and Smash, Talker Brothers.
That's poppin'. We ain't worried about nothing.
Y'all are now listening to Talker Brothers podcast.
What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Geaux Dee.
And it's your boy Smash coming at you.
I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Talker Brothers podcast. Smash, how's your week been, my brother?
Man, it's been a good week, honestly. I've been enjoying this week.
Playing the golf?
I did. I went out on Sunday. I played a pretty good round, bro.
Did you shoot under 100?
I got to add it up. I think I did. I think this might be my first time.
That means you shot over 100. If you didn't add it,
I did good, bro.
if you didn't add it up already, that means you shot over 100. So that's
I made a few pars, you know.
Yeah. Any birdies?
They were out there on the course.
No. So it was a lot of bogeys though. I'm more than sure.
Oh yeah. I had about two of them a couple of times.
Man, yeah. I loaded up the car with the clubs, put my favorite shoes in the trunk, and walked out the house and got in the car. And it was so hot, I was like, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm not going. But I need to get back out there. So
it's hot over y'all way though, so I understand.
Yeah, man. It was, I was sitting on the porch, drinking a lemonade, chilling in the shade, and it was a nice temperature. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything. Let's go to the golf course and play a little bit. But once I left from under that shade, it was like, you know what? You might want to go sit back down. So it's all good. What's the timeline, man? What's the countdown at right now?
Man, well, June 1st, the official day, but it'll probably be March time frame.
March.
I'll be done.
Any destination yet, or y'all still mulling that over?
Still mulling it over a little bit, but it's between Georgia and Florida. Okay,
y'all, you
gotta have it.
So you're not gonna come to Texas, huh? You gonna come hang out with your boy?
Man, I can't do Texas, man. Texas too big
and too hot.
Y'all getting overpopulated everywhere in Texas.
Yes, like people are moving in here like nobody's business, man. It's like it's forever growing. Where we live at right now, we moved in one area. We lived there for probably about 8 years, and it got overpopulated. So we moved further south from where we originally lived. Now this area is getting overpopulated. So we keep going south. I'm gonna end up in the Gulf. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do at that point.
Y'all gonna be there for a minute, right?
Nah, man. No. The countdown has started. Jalen is in the 9th grade now. So when he graduates, what the wife and I gonna do with this big old house, bro? Who gonna clean this thing up? They're gonna be off going to college and do their thing, and I can't. Nah, this is.
Nah, they'll still be at home living with.
They'll be here by themselves, cause the wife and I are gonna get a townhouse soon as he graduate. I told them we're gonna get a 2-bedroom townhouse. So y'all got to figure out amongst the kids. Y'all got to figure out who's gonna do bad. Y'all can't do bad all at once. Y'all got a place to stay, but you can't do bad all at once. But look, so this is something I'm really excited about. This episode, this show. This lady has opened my eyes to how the film industry works behind the camera, because I'm thinking when I watch movies a lot, it was always, I'm thinking, okay, there's one director for a movie, but I didn't realize that there is multiple directors for, like, if it's a TV show, there's multiple directors on that one series. So I was I
learned that too, bro.
Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
So I fell down this rabbit hole. So I was like, okay, so if that's going, let me keep looking and looking and looking. We're movie buffs and TV buffs. Probably almost quasi addiction type stuff because we watch a lot of TV around here. So we definitely keep the industry employed. But her name is Dawn Wilkinson. Dawn is an award-winning director and screenwriter, born in Montreal, raised in Toronto. She's alumni of Norman Jewison, and if I chewed it up, Dawn, please correct me. Canadian Film Center, and graduate of the University of Toronto. She has multiple films. There will be in a link in the bio where you can check her credits out as well. But let's bring Dawn in and give her her just due and let her know how excited I am to have her. How you doing, Dawn?
Oh, I'm really good. So glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Are you excited to be back at work?
I am. Actually, I did shoot a movie since the shutdown for COVID, and it's called Nashville Christmas Carol. It's a Hallmark movie. So I just finished that, and I just wrapped it. So I actually did get to work recently, and I'll be starting an episode of All American, which is a show on the CW that I've done in the past, in another month. So back to work, and it's been great. It's been really good to be back.
All American is one of my favorites, and I hope this season they'll play a little more football this time. 'Cause last season they played a lot of flag football last season. Like
there's a lot of practices,
right?
Yeah.
He was hurt, man. He was hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. So you're from Canada, but you're currently residing in LA right now, right?
That's right.
That's
right. And
what was the culture shock for you?
oh, well, it was pretty gradual because I've been working on US shows for a while, and I'd always traveled to Los Angeles to meet people and to, network and stuff. So, but it is different. It is a little bit different living here. And I have a son who changed, school systems and stuff like that. But, we really love Southern California. So it's working out well.
Right. Get that constant summer weather versus
so it's really definitely even coming back from Nashville, I'm like, it's so nice to come home, and it's nice,
right.
I'm used to it. I'm used to like going from the snow. So
right. Yeah, we have a friend of ours, he's from New York and he moves to Canada. He was like, I thought I was used to winter in New York. He said it was nothing compared to like Canada. Yeah, he was like, he says it's miserable.
It's true. And even though I grew up with it, I was always the one on set with like an extra pair of snow pants and an extra. I even have a vest that heats up. So.
Right.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's got a battery.
Yeah, that's me. If it's less than 72 degrees, I'm cold. I don't think I could move to a northern state. I think I would have to stay in Texas.
You wouldn't survive.
No, I wouldn't. I know I wouldn't, bro. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
I was up in lived in North Dakota for a year, and that's the coldest place I ever been.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to go back.
So let's get to who you are and what brought you into this industry. What was like as a child, we always think about what we want to do when we grow up. What was that turning point for you to say that I want to be a director, and what made you pick the route that you picked to be able to get your career going to this point?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and I can't say that I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker when I was a child. I definitely did take pictures and film home videos, and any opportunity I had as a school project to make a video, I would do that. But I didn't think about TV shows as directed by someone. I just didn't think of it that way. I didn't really understand how the production process worked. And then when I was at university, I had a professor who was a programmer at the Toronto Film Festival, and she helped me get a job, like being the person that sets up the mic for the filmmakers to talk and describe, why they made the films that they made.
Right.
And it was really the process of seeing filmmakers and independent films, and that inspired me to like try to make a film. And I went to a workshop with a filmmaker named Phil Hoffman, who's an experimental Canadian filmmaker. So it's kind of like a documentary kind of film where I shot visual images of trees and plants, and I did a cartwheel in a field, and I said, "Where are you from?" "I was born here. This is my home." And it was about Black Canadian identity, because like I grew up in Canada and I was born there, but pretty much everyone would ask me where I was from, trying to figure it out. So that kind of inspired me to like tell a personal story in a film. And once I made that film, I was really hooked on the process and like showing a film and having an audience kind of understand your experience. And even if they were Black, they got it. But even when they weren't Black, they got it. Like they understood how it feels to like not really feel like you fit in, or to feel like your identity is something you have to explain. So that was really, that was when I knew. But then even that film, Dandelions, was made like I shot it myself, I cut it myself. And this was like back when we worked on film. But I didn't have the experience of working on a set. And so after making one more short film, I had the opportunity to shadow Norman Jewison on The Hurricane, which was a big movie starring Denzel Washington. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I definitely want this job.
That's cool.
So would you say like when you got to work on The Hurricane, is that like what inspired you?
I mean, it definitely, yeah, like that was when I thought, okay, this is an actual, like it's an art form, but it's also a career. And like it had all these different aspects that I loved creatively, like, you know, talking with actors and storytelling and visual and like all of these different aspects that I just fell in love with the process. And then I was kind of on a mission to like figure out how to become a director, because there's, you know, that's kind of a long journey. And often people start out in different departments. Like someone might be an editor first, or a director of photography, or an actor. So to just pursue it straight as a director, I ended up making music videos for a little while. In Canada, there's a number of arts grants. So for lower budget projects, it was a way to, you know, make things and keep learning. And I taught filmmaking part-time, but it was a very gradual process until I got my first half-hour show, and then my first hour show, and then, you know, bigger shows. It's all been like a step-by-step kind of thing.
Right. I read somewhere, and I did a lot of research because I was looking forward to this interview. I did a lot of research, so I can't remember exactly where I came across the information.
Sure.
But you said don't be afraid to break the rules when you were working on the show Devotion in film school. Is that something that you still practice today, or that was something that was specific to that particular film that you developed?
Well, I think it's probably a larger creative opinion that like we get taught, like it depends if you get the chance to go to film school or not. Like it's not a requirement. There are filmmakers and directors that don't go to film school, but even if you don't go and you get books and watch videos and learn like how to tell a story visually, I think these are always just guidelines, you know, like how to structure a story, how to shoot a scene. There are conventions and things that work, but I think, you know, to have your part of it is to tell you to put yourself into it. So if there's something that you feel like you want to do because it's like your voice or how you see things, and really that's what makes your work special, is like how you see things and, you know, your own opinion in a way. So you kind of have to like have the confidence, build the confidence to like do what you feel is the right thing creatively. Not to totally ignore. Maybe I've evolved since I made that statement. But like, you not to necessarily ignore how everything's been done and what the conventions are, but like to embrace your own individuality as an artist.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're creating the film and you're reading that script and you're the director on it, how much influence does what's on the paper actually change from your director, from when you're directing? Like does what's your vision in your mind change when you're directing the actors and actually making the film?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And I think it's like the essence of what a director does is read the script and visualize and interpret what the writer has created. And a screenplay, you know, does differ from a novel. When you read it, they're describing visually what is being seen, but they're not necessarily addressing the themes or giving extra details about what the characters are thinking. Those kind of things are kind of left to the interpretation. So I'll read a script, and usually I hook onto the characters, like the characters and what the characters are going through, because that inspires me to think about like how I would convey. I work from a place of emotion a lot of the time, so how I would convey the feelings that the characters are going through, or how I could evoke in the audience the feelings that the characters are going through, because I also think about that. I think about audience.
Right.
And if it's funny, it might be a visual gag. Something has to be shown in a certain way to show that it's funny. If it's emotional stuff, then I think about like how like I usually have a conversation with the actors, and then I think about how to shoot it in a way that is going to enhance the feelings that I want to communicate. And sometimes it depends. Some shows are written with more detail, or let's say the writer maybe has a more visual sense and is thinking a little more about the shots than other times. Like there is some I work on different kinds of shows, and it depends. Some of them are more specific visually, let's put it that way. But like I did this show, Lock and Key, 2 episodes, which is on Netflix, and it was based on a graphic novel. And actually, one of my episodes is nominated for Directors Guild of Canada Best Direction Award at the DGC Awards this year. So that's exciting. But that's a good example of a show that's written visually, but then there's room to, like, as the director, go even further. Right. So, and I think when there's requirements of like visual effects or things are stylized, because I feel like some of the shows that I've done that have come from a kind of a comic book source, like Riverdale or The Gifted, there's always like this aspect of imagining things, because you're not in so much of a real vibe. Like you can kind of do stranger camera movements and odd things, because that's true to the world that you're exploring. So I look at it from like how to convey what the characters are going through, and then also like what's the tone and the feeling of the show, and like what can I get away with visually that's going to be really exciting.
Right.
Yeah. Now you said something. I was gonna wait to a little bit toward the end, because I know my family will get on me if I don't ask. But you brought up Lock and Key, and they were big on watching that show. And they told me, they were like, you got to watch Lock and Key, because my wife is a big Stephen King fan, and then when she found out his son was doing some of those shows, she's like, you got to watch it. And then when Derek had told me that you agreed to be on the show, I was like, she did 2 episodes on Lock and Key. I said, is this the same? And then I started doing the research, and I told my family, they was like, are you for real? Like they want to be on the show right now talking to you, because they got so many questions. So I love the episodes that you did, because actually I think your 2 episodes like explained it more. I don't know how to like describe it, but it helped. It brought a lot of stuff together. I know it was toward the end, but it still brought a lot of stuff together.
Right.
Yeah, that's thank you. That's right. I mean, I think that was partially my luck in terms of getting stories that had some backstory in it, which helps explain like how the characters got into the situations that they're in. But it was certainly that was among some of my favorite work that I've done so far on that show.
And, are you going to do season 2? Any episodes on there yet that you can tell us about that you?
No, I don't think I'm going to be back for season 2, but I'm sure it'll be amazing.
So
yes, all right.
one of the things how I came across you is I came across a show called Republic of Doyle. Right?
Oh wow!
So I watched this show. I binge watched it in one weekend, like all the episodes. So I've never seen the show before, and I was like, "Is there another season coming?" And that's how I stumbled upon you, and looking at the credits and seeing who the actors are. And I'm always putting out feelers. Who can I get on the show, and these type of things. So what happened? That show was so good. Even at the end of it, it was so good that I don't understand why did it end. What?
You know what? I'm not sure. I don't think that I know the reason either. I mean, I know that it was a CBC show,
right?
And so it could just be that they had decided on a certain number of seasons. I'm really not sure. That's a great question, and it was actually, I want to say, 4 years ago, perhaps, or 5 years ago that I directed that episode. Mm-hmm. So I don't know the reason,
So what?
I'm not sure.
What makes Smash and I are big TV watchers and big movie watchers, and we always rate the quality of the different TV stations and HBO and Cinemax, stuff like that, right? So we've come to the realization that NBC doesn't like anything. They'll cancel stuff immediately, right?
Okay, right, yeah.
CBS has great quality, great shows, and they give their shows a nice longer run.
Right.
What goes into that process of them continuing with the show or canceling the show? And it can't just be viewership. I know it just can't be that if viewers aren't tuning in, they're going to cancel the show.
Yeah, I mean, I can only talk about it in general because I'm not sure why Republic of Doyle ended after 5. So certainly some shows on CBC have run a long time. I also did a show called Heartland, which is continuing on many seasons in, and Murdoch Mysteries many seasons, because that's where I started in the Canadian network series. But there's a lot of factors, you know. There's the writers, of course, who've created the show, or the producers who are responsible for it, and how much story they feel that they have. And then there's the actors who, you know, I mean, you do find shows where actors are invested and prepared to go season after season, but often like 4 or 5 seasons in general is a good run, I think, for any show, realistically. It's unusual, although amazing, when they go 15, you know, 20. Like there's the odd show that has like that kind of run, but that's uncommon, really. Right. It's like 3, 4, maybe 5 is successful, you know. So there's a number of factors, and often when people pitch shows, they think about like what are the first 2 or 3 seasons. Sometimes they can get to season 5 or season 6, and often they feel that, you know, even if it's a great show that has an audience, that's all the story that they want to tell. Right. So it's a creative decision. Right. Yeah.
Okay. So lower my expectations, right?
There's lots out there. So
stop being so greedy.
Have to move on.
But there's some shows you get attached to, and you maybe a character you identify with, or a storyline that you really hits home for you, and it's like, that's it, it's over, and you know. So
that's right. And I think it's tricky to end a show also. Like, it's tricky to end, you know, that they're not always
tying those loose ends up.
Yeah, it's just a difficult thing.
Yeah. Go ahead, Smash.
So and this is my ignorance, I don't know, but being a director, is it, I don't want to say similar, but I've heard some actors where they get scripts and they turn it down. As a director, do you do the same thing? You read it and just like, I'm not into this one, or how does that process work?
Well, I mean, so much of my career was spent, like, in the beginning, just getting opportunities, getting meetings, meeting with people, watching shows, doing research. I think now, rather than, let's say, like, I mean, I often will turn things down more just because I will be scheduling a certain way, and I'll be available. You know, there's a certain number of episodes I can do in a year or a 6-month period of time, and I just have to choose based on what's available and what I'm offered and what I like within that time. Right. But I think as a director, what you try to do, and what I've noticed too, is like doing shows where I like them and I want to watch them, and the research doesn't feel like research or work because I'm just so engaged in watching the show. Right. That's what you want as a director. You just want to like really love the material. And then after you've had the opportunity to make a number of shows, then what happens is similar type shows start to look for you too. You know, they like the episodes are strong, and so the producers get to know you from your episodes, and then they want you to hire you for something similar. So like in lots of you know, creative jobs where you kind of start to build a reputation for a certain type of work. But I definitely like you know, for example, I'm going to be doing a show called Hightown, which is a Starz show. I don't know if you've heard of it, and I just started kind of watching it out of curiosity, and then I like just had to watch the whole season. And then at the end of the season, I was like, what's going to happen in season 2? It's like, I want to be a part of that. So that happens sometimes.
Okay. What is, I read somewhere, again, with my research, and what is a Marvel comic still your dream? One of your dreams?
Yeah. You read that? Yes. The Shuri movie? Yeah, 100%. I would love to do that. I would love to do that. You know, it's also because I find that whenever, like, one of the things I love about directing is that you get all these experts to work with you who are so specialized in their knowledge, right? So like all I can picture is like on a Marvel movie how you would have all these great creative collaborators, you know what I mean? So that's a big appeal, and also of course, you know, loving that character Shuri and, you know, Black Panther and all that. So
yeah, definitely. So as do you consider yourself a visionary? Do you consider yourself somebody that from this point that you think that you've moved the needle for directors, for Black directors going forward?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I don't know if anyone ever really looks at themselves in that way. I know that especially in the Canadian context, but the community of Black directors is fairly small, and I was certainly the first probably woman, you know, African Canadian woman director working consistently in dramatic and comedy series. So I was just trying to do the thing, you know, I was just trying to like work as a director. I wasn't really trying to make a statement, but that, you know, and now I, you know, help occasionally, you know, help other people get their career started, you know, give advice, mentor. In a creative sense, like I think I definitely was drawn to storytelling and filmmaking in particular because I really felt like I just hadn't seen, you know, a lot of my experience depicted on screen in television shows. Like, you know, as a kid, I'm trying to think, what did I like? I like the Cosby Show. I love Spike Lee's movies, you know, but I just didn't feel like there was a lot. It was just a desire to like, you know, I think that's what drew me into it initially, especially once I made Dandelions. I realized that you could actually make a film and show people your life and your experience and your perspective in a way that maybe hasn't been seen. And certainly perspective as a concept is central to my filmmaking. Like even when it's not necessarily, there's not a race theme or there's not a gender theme, although often in my work there tends to be, I think about whose perspective the story is being told from and how to really explore that. And I think that's where, you know, my particular vision, you know, that's one of the things that is really important to me is perspective and storytelling. And I do think that there's still so many stories that need to be told and need to be expressed. And that's my job really, is to like be there and do that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And that helps me out because I just thought director just says action, cut. But it's
well, we do that too. We do that too. But it's like, you know, there's always this there's always all these limitations. And it ultimately, it's like you have so much time. Like you have a very limited amount of time with all the people and all the equipment and all the stuff. And you're the one who's like, this is what's important. This is what's important. Like, that's really what we're doing all day. Like, yeah, you're deciding it's a medium shot, it's a close up, it's a steady cam shot, it's a static shot, and you're going to cut here, you're not going to cut there. But really what all those decisions are about is what's important, where do we need to focus our time and energy, and what's going to make a difference in terms of telling the story. So having kind of like a big picture in terms of like knowing how all the parts are going to fit together, but still an interest in like focusing on really specific details is like kind of the back and forth creatively in my mind. That's what I'm doing. Like I'm looking at this one specific shot, all the details visually, but I'm also thinking about how this moment fits into the whole story and like what I need to get from this shot so that it's going to do its job. It's going to tell the story and then on to the next one. Awesome. Because it's not, and particularly with television, I've done a lot of TV. It's not always, I mean, we strive for perfection, but what we have to keep in mind is we also have to deliver the show within a specific amount of time. And you have to kind of get what's going to really work and tell the story, and then know when you have it and move on to the next thing.
Okay. So what do you like better, movies or TV?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like as a director, definitely have more experience now in television, but I really do love the film. You know, even in a Hallmark movie, as the director of this whole story, you know, you're the go-to person for every single creative detail in a way that on series, certain things might be more established, right? Like you might have sets that are already well established, characters, even your main cast have understanding of their character. Often on a TV series, I'll have a conversation with an actor, which is like, they know their character. I'm not there to tell them about their character. They kind of know that. What I'm there for is like, how can we tackle this episode? What can we do to make this episode interesting? And then maybe I'm going to spend more time directing in the more traditional sense, character motivation, backstory with guest actors who are there for maybe 1 or 2 episodes and need and require that kind of direction. So in a movie that you definitely get to have your hand in a little more things creatively. But the great thing about TV is that you turn them over fairly quickly. And it's after being an independent filmmaker who, like, I could say my film devotion took 3 years if we look at just the production process, like not the writing. Let's say it's probably 5 if you include the writing, where, I shot over a period of time, and then there was like this long, slow post-production process with the picture edit and another long, slow sound edit. And the great thing about when you work in television is like within a month, 6 weeks, you see the episode go from like words on a page to like a finished episode that people can watch and enjoy. And so that there's something great about that too, because in a period of, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I gained this huge amount of experience in terms of executing different and using different equipment and different technology and, all kinds of different shooting scenarios. So as a filmmaker, I really got to evolve and develop my techniques and know like how to anticipate, how to make things. Because I remember being a filmmaker, and it's like, say this to people who are starting out, like the hardest thing, especially when you start out, is like you have this idea and you want to make it look a certain way, and then you do it and it comes out and you're like, that's
not right.
Not exactly.
Right.
It's not exactly what I wanted it to be. And then you're kind of tasked with like doing the best you can with what you've got.
Right.
And, the nice thing about like working in TV after a number of years is like, granted, I'm still affected by the resources and like what's available on that particular show within the budget, but I definitely have a stronger sense of like, this is what I want it to be. And then I can actually make it like that. And then I see it and it's what I expected it to be. I'm not saying there's not surprises. There's always surprises and things that happen in production. You change your mind and stuff, but to have a kind of control over like this thing that you're making and be able to anticipate how it's going to be in the end and it comes out how you want it to, that's a fun thing. It's like, it's really truly creativity.
You get to see the end product faster in TV versus, and that's more
much
gratifying
faster.
to see all the hard work you put in and actually see it in its final stages. So
that's right. And it's very satisfying. And I think, with a movie, there's a different schedule in terms of the time it takes to put it out and promote. And I think as a person who loves to direct and loves to be on set, that I love to spend my time directing, so that's probably why I've done so much TV and done well there, because I just love the process. And then I see it done and then I learn and move on and I get to do it again. Like that's what I just love to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So during this pandemic that's been going on and we all been cooped in the house, has it given you more time to create?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like initially when it happened, I had just completed How to Get Away with Murder, which was a great experience. And I loved working on that show. I'd been a fan of the show. I'd like
love that show
at the beginning. So, and I got in there right the third to last episode of their entire run. So that was really fun. And then I realized I had pretty much been directing back to back for a year, like almost nonstop shows. So I was like, oh, let me just like slow down for a minute. And then I did, look back at some of my writing because I've started some projects, gotten them to different stages, but it pretty much, get a TV job and sort of have to step away from it. So it did give me a chance to kind of like do an inventory and look at some of my work and what I had, what I'd like to pursue in terms of like my own voice and writing. And then a movie popped up. And I went to set.
That long process starts, right?
Yeah. But I think, and I did also, I would say in the time that I wasn't shooting and that, production was kind of shut down, I definitely did a little more like interviews and discussions and even, joining groups with the Directors Guild of America and just like connecting with people, which, when you're in production, you are connecting on a certain level. You're like working with the crew and the actors, but connecting with other filmmakers and aspiring filmmakers, and it's been really fun.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's get to what are some of your, what genre do you like the best? Comedy, suspense,
Yeah.
romance? What's that when you get it on your table and you see it, you like gotta do it because it's that type of genre.
Right. Well, I think I just really love stuff that's like character driven and that has emotional stuff going on in it. Like I find that really juicy. Like when people are, even if it doesn't have to be super dark, although I like dark, but it's more to have the emotional journey. I love that.
Okay.
And or if it's like funny, that's cool, but I like there to be some character stuff going on behind it. So drama is pretty much my genre.
Probably where you are. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I asked a friend of mine, he's an actor, and I asked him when he reads a script, what draws him into it. For me, I'm like Marvel. I want to see explosions. Like as a from reading, I think I would want to be like, I want to have all this technology at hand so I can make this elaborate, special effects type of thing. That would just So that's why I asked that. What draws you to a certain project or another project?
It's the thing about that stuff is though it's really good as long as there's a good story to go with it. Right. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. That's the challenge, because it's great to like blowing things up is a lot of fun. Like that. It really is.
Right.
It really is. It really is. Especially because when you do stuff like that, there's like this moment where like you've done everything you can, you've practiced the things you can practice, because some things you can't practice. Like all you can do is plan it, set it up, and then it's like a 3, 2, 1, and everybody's like,
and hope it goes kaboom.
and I love that. I love that moment. That is so much fun. Like they're like, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready." Like we've done everything we can. Now we're just letting it happen. And it's, to me, that's like a moment where it's like there's nothing like it.
So it's
exciting.
So it'd be that moment of awe. They're like, "Dawn, are you gonna say cut?" Oh, cut! That was that was amazing.
Well, it's true, and often now, that we shoot a lot of things, or pretty much everything digitally, it's true that sometimes we don't cut and we just like start over again. But I have been told that. Once or twice by a producer when I just ran a lot of footage and I was like doing a lot of takes. He's like, "Could you say cut once in a while?" I was like, "Yes, I will."
So I'm not gonna hold you much. Go ahead, Smash. Go ahead. You got another question?
I just got one last question. If you could go back 10 years and give yourself some advice, what would it be from what you've learned now?
Oh, I think I would tell myself to I'm just like 10 years ago, because like where was I 10 years ago? 10 years ago, 2010, I was directing my first half-hour show called She's the Mayor, which was a Canadian comedy series for Sud Sutherland and Jennifer Holness, a producing team out of Toronto and directing partnership. And I was just like, I was so determined to have a career as a director. Like I was at the moment where I was like, I'll shadow, I'll set visit, I'll volunteer. But that was when I decided this is I'm going to make this one more shot at it. Because I'd already been filmmaker for 10 years at that time, right? But I hadn't really transitioned into it in a commercial way. I had been like an artist, filmmaker, teacher type. And I would have just told myself to keep working, but relax, because it's going to work out okay. I was so intense. And it's understandable that like at that point you feel like every single credit, any opportunity you get, it's like your whole life depends on it, like your whole career depends on it. And I was so intense, and I would just tell myself to do the job and work hard and think and be creative, but not to be so hard on myself, to enjoy it more and relax.
Enjoy the experience, right? Enjoy it's easy said than done. Like you're in it. Like I got bills to pay. I'm trying to get this career going. It's like So I can understand that. I definitely do. So fun fact, what is something that what is that secret indulgence? What is that something that you like, you know what? This is not shame. I'm not ashamed of it, but I enjoy this so much. Is it sports, TV, reading, jogging.
Oh, yoga.
Yoga.
Yoga, okay.
Okay.
Yoga? Yoga is not easy.
Right.
No, but I find it's just a really good complement to like having a sort of a stressful, busy,
It's quiet
type of job. Yeah. It's quiet, it's relaxing. And I think, my mother taught yoga when I was a kid and was like into it way before people were into it the way they are now. So I think I was introduced to it. I was never really into it as a young person, but I was introduced to it as an idea of like a healthy kind of activity. And so I liked, I fantasize about painting. And I did that also during the shutdown. I got all my paints and brushes, and because I haven't painted for a number of years, but I haven't actually started painting.
Wait. So
pulled it all out.
So the yoga I actually do. The painting I have all set. It's ready to go. I just haven't started painting yet.
So you just have the canvas sitting there, and you're just like,
yeah.
No, not today. Not today.
I do that too. I understand.
Yes, because I'm waiting. Smash has this secret journal, and I guess the wife and I will get our hands on it when he dies, because he would not release like put the stuff out, man. Let us read what you writing, and it's like, so I get it. But
and that's why I really respect people like yourself, because trying to put that story together and paint that picture, like I really want to take people on a journey, and I get in my own when I do it, because I'm putting too much before, what they say, the horse before the cart, or however this story adage goes. But so that's why I really admire and I really like pay attention to the film, because my wife always asks me like, why are you looking at that? Just enjoy it. I'm like, no, did you see the way they did this? Did you see that's how it should be done, So, and me and Geaux Dee talk about that stuff too all the time. So I really admire people like yourself who can paint that picture.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's nice when it's appreciated, because sometimes I think to myself, is this like when you're making a decision on set, you're like, it's important, or is it getting into that area where I'm the only one who's going to notice? it's like, everyone's going to notice, versus maybe it's getting to be something that is so specific just to me. But, that's where the fun is, and the artistry of deciding how to make like transitions, how to cover scenes, and how to really give the audience an opportunity to engage and be excited.
Right. Awesome.
Is your show going to be on Hallmark this year?
Actually this November 21st at 8:00 on the main Hallmark channel, Nashville Christmas Carol.
That's okay. I only watch one show on Hallmark, so I'm going to definitely put that on my. I love that.
I'm writing it down now.
What is it called? Can't think.
Hallmark?
It's on Hallmark. It's Good Witch. I watched it.
Oh yeah, that is a good show. Yeah,
it's something that I watched with my mom. So that's just something where we connect together. It's not, but I did it as just to pass time. I don't say waste time. Not mom. I don't mean to waste time.
Fill time.
Right. Spend time. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, director. Cut, Derek. Cut. That's not what you're trying to say. But I found myself, over about a couple of days, hanging out with her. We watched it, and then I found myself like wondering where did they leave off? Let me go back. So now I'm starting to watch it more. But that's one of the Hallmark shows I watch. But I definitely put that.
That's cool.
So, but I thank you, Dawn. This has been a highlight for me, because like I said, we watch a lot of TV and we watch a lot of movies, and we always, they're always curious on how the process goes, and how things are being made. And you're the first director that we've had on the show to give us that perspective from a director's perspective on how the film industry works. So I'm excited to let the listeners and the viewers see your point of view and enjoy the content that we just created. So.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. Smash, any closing words before we get out of here?
Yes, thank you for coming on, Ms. Wilkinson, Dawn. I always love these because like he said, we watch a lot of movies, but to learn the behind the scenes when we have actors and directors like yourself, they give us that behind the scene that we try to imagine, but we don't really know. But I really appreciate you coming on. And I'm, I'm inspired that you're a Black and I'm gonna get this right because I heard you said African Canadian. Is that right?
That's the, I don't know. I don't get too hung up on the words, honestly.
Yeah, but
black Canadian's
a black
fine.
female director.
Yeah.
But like I said, from what I've seen on the stuff researching and the shows that I watched that you've done, like you're killing it. Keep doing what you're doing, and much success and love in all the endeavors that you do.
Oh, thank you so much. It's really great to hear, and I will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the support. It's wonderful.
Definitely.
Oh, you're welcome, man.
So with that being said, much love, and we out.
Thank you.
Peace.